Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be and prosperity upon us. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thanks God that today, in this evening, we can join and meet again in the fourth Minda Masagi Suci lecture series via Zoom meeting. As we know that the Minda Mas lecture series is monthly agenda, organized by ASPENSI, International Association for Historian and History Educators in Bandung, West Java, Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, to start this event, we are to sing the national anthem of Indonesia Raya, the great Indonesia, which will be played in the video by Pak Esa Paujian Gumelar as our host and admin in this evening agenda. Please, Pak Esa. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, of you who are willing to listen or join in singing the national anthem of Indonesia Raya, the great Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, on this evening, Friday, 17 December 2021, we will make sharing and caring about the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, the Philippine perspective and experience. As we know that each nation state has had the controversial issues in her historical journey. Controversial issues regard a disagreement about what happened, why it happened, and how significant is the event. Sometimes these disagreements are present only at the academic level when two or more historians interpret the same evidence in different ways. In teaching and learning of history, controversial issues are necessary to help students understand that almost every historical topic is open to different interpretation, particularly when teaching these issues in societies with opposite narratives. That is an opportunity for multi-perspective approach, but also for developing student ability to deal with controversial issues and debating with people who do not share their opinion. I am Andi Swita, lecturer at the Department of History Education, Faculty of Social Studies, UPI, Indonesia University of Education in Bandung, and also as Secretary General of ASPENSI, will be the moderator and guide the discussion event with an interesting topic. We are going to firstly listen an explanation of the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, the Philippine perspectives and experience. This interesting topic will be explained briefly in 10 to 15 minutes. Our issue in this evening. So the topic is how managing the controversial issues in contemporary history, maybe the perspective and experience from the Brunei Darussalam and maybe also from the other country if they're joining us. Maybe as the first opportunity, I would like to give time to Dr. Muhammad Hadi bin Muhammad Melayong, maybe for make the comment how managing the controversial issues in contemporary history in Brunei Darussalam, please, in 5 to 10 minutes, Doctor. Okay, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
And good evening, everyone, especially to our chairman, Dr. Masandi, and our host speaker, Dr. Nicola Mary Serapiko, just join us. I think, is it okay for me to start, Andy, or we?
Okay, I think let's give the opportunity for the Dr. Nicola because Dr. Nicola has joining us. Okay, thank you, Dr. Hadi.
Yes.
So, okay, Dr. Nicola M.S. Serapiko, yes, what is now joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, allow me to make a brief introduction for the speaker. Dr. Nicole M.A. Serapiko, yes, is currently as faculty members at the PNU, Philippine Normal University in Manila, the Philippines. She is expert in history of working in the higher education industry, skill also in secondary education, historical research, educational technology, classroom instruction, and support. Strong education professional with the Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, focus in social studies education, or in Tagalog language, Araling Panlipunan, from UPI, Indonesia University of Education in Bandung, West Java, Indonesia. Well, Dr. Nicole M.S. Serapiko, screen is yours in 15 minutes, please. Still unmute, Doctor.
Thank you, Pa Andy, and to everyone who's here. Good evening, and I apologize if I was late in our session for today. I literally just finished my graduate class, no, and this is our last meeting also in our class. So allow me to share my screen and present to you a very brief discussion on the topic that Pa Andy gave to me, which is managing controversial contemporary history, the Philippine experience and perspective. So I followed Pa Andy's request not to have it just in one slide. So I'd like to share with you tonight, how do we manage controversial contemporary history, specifically in our country here in the Philippines. So let me start by saying that we need to define what controversial or difficult history. No, there are so many terms for controversial history. Some would call it as difficult history or hard history. So allow me to define what controversial or difficult history is. So when we say difficult history, all modern nation states have periods of what we call difficult history. These are periods that reverberate in the present and surface fundamental disagreements over who we are, okay, as a nation and what values we hold. So basically, when we say difficult history, these are the periods that are contested in the grand narrative of the national history of a nation or a country. And what makes it difficult is that people disagree if this certain event or this certain history should be narrated in such highlight, maybe good or maybe bad or maybe neutral. And the narrative of this difficult history has been in disagreement, and even historians cannot agree on how we should deal with this certain event. That's why it becomes difficult. Okay, difficult in a sense that how can we actually narrate this? What perspective should we use in narrating such kind of history? So in the Philippines, one very good example of a difficult history is the Philippine experience on martial law. Martial law was declared in 1971 by the then president / we call him dictator, Ferdinand E. Marcos. Okay, what made the martial law era in the Philippines a difficult history? It became a difficult history because of the disinformation and the cognitive dissonance between the people who experienced martial law during that time versus to what really happened in the martial law era. During this time, a lot of atrocities such as extrajudicial killings and disappearances of various people happened. But at the same time, since President Marcos was the sole ruler of our country, he held power and authority over what will come out in the media. So most of the people who lived and experienced the martial law era have this kind of experience that it was a good era. No, all of the Filipinos were disciplined. A lot of infrastructures were built. No, and this can be attributed to the edifice complex coined by our architects, where a lot of infrastructures were built during his time. But these infrastructures were built because of large amount of loans or debt from the World Bank and even the Asian Development Bank. And with this kind of cognitive dissonance between the experience and what really happened, there were also this side of martial law that those who protested against the dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos were tortured, were killed, and some were never found again. And a lot of these disappearances were attributed to the quote and unquote the enemies of the state. And Marcos masked this as the threat of communism. But in reality, it was not really communism that is threatening his rule over our country, but of course the unjust ruling that he did when he was the dictator during the martial law era of our country. So why was it why it became a difficult history for us? Right now, to update you with the current situation of our country, we are nearing our next presidential election in 2022. We will be electing a new president in 2022. And the son of Ferdinand Marcos is running for presidency. And because of this, the issue of martial law and his father's rule over our country in the 1970s until the 1980s was relived again. And now the narrative became that his son, Bongbong Marcos, will put back, quote and unquote, the golden era of our country. He will just continue what his father has started in the 1970s. So, but the victims of martial law, the survivors of the martial law, beg to disagree. And even historians will also have agreed that the martial law was good, but not in totality excellent as the Filipino people have remembered it. So right now, how can we manage this kind of difficult and controversial part of our history? So first things first, no, research and policy is very important. And this research and policy should be cascaded down to the education institutions. So scholars, our educational ministry, and schools should cooperate with each other and see and review how the martial law era is being discussed in the classrooms. It is very important that the scholars will see how the martial law was narrated or how is it taught inside the classroom. So right now, no, since it is a very controversial issue in our contemporary society, the Department of Education of our country and the Commission for Higher Education of our country will be holding a summit with the historians who are expert in the martial law era. They will have a summit on how martial law is being discussed and is being taught by the teachers. And of course, after this summit, there should be a policy at the very least, no, that should be promulgated on how the martial law era should be taught in our classrooms. Because right now, we don't have an agreed narrative on how the martial law should be taught in our classrooms or to our students. And this policy should entail, no, the reskilling and upskilling and updating of our teachers. Because the teachers, the social studies and history teachers of our country right now have different views and opinions on martial law. And once again, a fact is different from an opinion. Most of the time, it was the teacher's opinion that is being propagated and taught inside the classrooms and not the fact. Okay, so we go back to the basics. We teach our teachers and even our pre-service teachers to know, no, that what is the difference between a fact and an opinion. And with that, we could create a strategy that in teaching martial law, this difficult history of ours should be based on fact and not opinion. Because your experience of martial law can be good, but it does not tell you that the other people who lived during the martial law era have a good experience also. So we should be very objective when we narrate and we teach history, which is very difficult for our country. I also wanted to share with you that aside from research and policy, the process on how we teach difficult or controversial history should be monitored and evaluated. Why? Because without monitoring and evaluation, there will be lapses. There will always be lapses and loopholes on how we teach difficult and controversial histories. So one very good example that we are doing right now is that teachers are being observed, no, every now and then, and they are collaborating with Filipino historians on how they could teach and what sources could they use when they teach the martial law era. Okay, so specifically also the professional organizations of historians in the Philippines, such as the Philippine Historical Association, are creating programs for teachers to have a roundtable discussion, have a conference with them on how they can meet, no, the researches of historians and translate it into teaching and learning inside the classroom. And lastly, okay, and this is the most difficult part in managing controversial contemporary history, is systemic change. This systemic change does not entail the educational system only, but it entails all of the aspects where history is being used and being propagated. So for example, the fight against disinformation. Now, martial law in Philippine history should not be a difficult history if not for the disinformation that is happening right now in our country. There has been a lot of researches. For example, there was this 2018 research on the architects of network disinformation in the Philippines, the propagation of fake news in our country, that the Marcos family have used Facebook, the Cambridge Analytica, to reinstate and to revise the history of their family, of their family's rule in our country. And us, we have a very, very low functional literacy rate. And we have a very high use of social media. They used social media to propagate this information. So without the systemic change, even if we are doing a lot inside the classroom, but if the society permits the disinformation, specifically in this controversial part of our history, it will be very difficult for us to manage these controversies. So the systemic change should not only happen in the educational system, but it should also happen at the level of the national government, and of course, to have checks and balances on what is being propagated in the media, specifically in the social media, which happens to be right now is the source of information of most of the Filipinos. Because of the pandemic, we can't go outside to speak with one another, to discuss with one another. We rely mostly on our smartphones, on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, to see what's happening in our society. So a systemic change must be done to fight disinformation that would lead to more confusion and a more difficult history. So with this components in managing controversial contemporary history, I would like to conclude my presentation that it is not only the responsibility of the educational sector to manage controversial contemporary histories. This should be managed also, and this with the effort of the national government and of course the society, we could make difficult history an easier one. And one very good example is Germany. Holocaust was a very difficult history for them. But because of their acknowledgement of their atrocities, and they have promulgated laws promulgated laws on anti-Semitism and of course on genocide, they have won against controversial and difficult history, specifically when we talk about the World War II atrocities. And with that, I'd like to end my presentation, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you on how we could manage controversial contemporary histories, specifically on sharing with you how our country is experiencing this management of controversial contemporary history. Thank you very much, and good evening to all of you.
Okay, maraming salamat, Dokter. I think very interesting about your explaining, particularly about the controversial issues or difficult issues, particularly in the between fact and interpretation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we have listened to explanation about the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, managing what the Philippine perspective and experience from Dr. Nicoli M.A. Serafico-Reyes. I will not conclude or summarize what has been explained by the speaker, due to it is very clear, particularly about the Marcos regime legacy. I think it is similar with Suharto regime legacy in Indonesian history, because between Ferdinand A. Marcos and General Suharto in similar period in 1970s, 1980s. I think Prof. Nana, I would like to make the more comment or analysis about the controversial issues, particularly in Indonesian case. Now, I want to listen and get feedback from the audience who comes from various countries such as Indonesia, Brunei Darussalam. I don't know the Japan or Nigeria, but Malaysia also can come here. So in the context of sharing and caring as well, I would like to give an opportunity to the panelists or representative from other countries to give a brief explanation and also maybe comparison about the managing controversial issues in contemporary history based on your nation state perspective and experience. I would like to give opportunity for making a brief comment, respectively, the representative from Indonesia, and then Brunei Darussalam, and then Malaysia. Okay, the representative panelist from Indonesia is our colleague, Professor Dr. Nana Supriyatna. Thank you very much joining us. He is currently as the head of History Education Study Program at School of Postgraduate Studies, UPI, Indonesia University of Education in Bandung. Professor Dr. Nana Supriyatna is expert in history education and social studies education, writing many books. One of latest and popular his book entitled Pedagogy Creative Pedagogy. Okay, Prof. Nana, screen issues in 5 to 10 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you very much, my best friend, Pak Andi Suwirta, who organized this meeting. And because of you, I can see my colleague, Nicole Serapico. Yeah, I think, how are you, Nicole?
Very fine and very good.
How about your husband?
He's very fine also. He's healthy.
Yes, I miss all of you.
Yes, us also.
First of all, I would like to say sorry very much for being late coming to our room here, because in this afternoon, I just finished meeting with our assessor from ACAS, International Accreditation from Germany. Our study program, Pak Andi, Department of History of Education in UPI, in UP, just finished accredited by ACAS, ACAS from Germany. We hope that in a few months we'll get the result. So we hope that you support our initiative to get international accreditation. Okay, Nicole, it's very interesting presentation about controversial issue. I think history is the subject which so very controversial, because history come to us here, is depend on interpretation. In Indonesia, we have official history, and our government, our leader, our politician has different perspective about how history presented to public, to our school, to our student. And historian also has different perspective about our history. We use, of course, scientific research or historical research based on fact. But politicians in developing their interpretation not based on fact, but based on what they like. So this is very controversial. However, controversial issue cannot be avoided in school, and we see that controversial issue can be managed in school to develop our student critical thinking. Critical thinking. So controversial issue can be managed properly by creative teacher, by creative history teacher in the classroom, and student can be confronted with many different controversial issue. I think Pak Andi will write interested topic about how we have historical event 30 September, we call it G30S PKI Movement Indonesia COP, yeah. And until now, the history is difficult history. It's very, very difficult history because it's so traumatic for us, for Indonesian people, and communism still our enemy now, even though communism has already died in the world, but Indonesia still alive. So this is a very, very controversial. There are so many controversial issues in Indonesia, but in school Indonesia, we develop our teacher to develop critical thinking by using controversial issue. So this is very, very important. I think we can learn from your experience, Nicole, from Philippines, as Pak Andi said before, that the figure like Jose Rizal or the other also has a controversial perspective, yeah, in their career, yeah, in Filipino. Indonesia, another thing of controversial issue is about hero. Yeah, hero. This is because our country consists of many different culture, different ethnic group. Then every ethnic group has their own hero. For example, according to Pak Andi from West Java, one figure is a hero for him, but for me it's not. For me it's enemy. So this is very, very difficult to us to manage in the classroom, and sometimes in the classroom we can fighting each other because of the controversy. However, creative teacher can manage controversial to be more interesting in the classroom. I think, Nicole, this is my comment to your presentation. It's very, very interesting, very, very inspiring for us to learn how controversial issue are managed in the school. Thank you very much, Pandi, Nicole, and I saw here Dr. Muhammad Hadi. Muhammad, how are you, Doctor? Ada Esa here, and the other probably, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pandi.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Nana Supriyatna, for sharing knowledge and inspiring topic related to the managing controversial issues in contemporary history and Indonesian perspective and experience. Okay, I think Prof. Nana with his book, Pedagogy Creative Pedagogy, there's managing how the controversial issues in this classroom can the topic and debatable not only by the student in the classroom, but also the teacher. So I think teacher of history Indonesia should have the wide knowledge about the modern Indonesian history, particularly controversial issues in contemporary history, because there's what is a lot of critical question from the student about the event. I fully agree with the Dr. Nicole explanation that facts is very important. Interpretation, I think it is the another what is factor, but based on fact is in history is very critical. Okay, the next representative panelist is from Brunei Darussalam. I would like to invite Dr. Haji Muhammad Hadi bin Haji Muhammad Melayong to give a brief sharing and comparing also about the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, a Bruneian perspective and experience. As a brief information that Dr. Haji Muhammad Hadi bin Haji Muhammad Melayong is currently as President Persiba Brunei History Society in Bandar Sri Begawan, Negara Brunei Darussalam. He is expert in history of MIB, Malay Islamic monarchy, and of course, modern Brunei history. Well, Dr. Hadi, time is yours in 5 to 10 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Masandi. And good evening, everyone, especially to our host speaker just now, and also to Dr. Nana.
Hello.
So,
Good evening also,
Good
Dr.
evening also.
yeah, thank you. So I think I just want to make a simple response on our topic tonight. Thank you for the interesting presentation by Dr. Nekel. It's very inspiring, and also Nana. So I would like to share my observation based on my experience and knowledge on Brunei perspective about the issue of the controversy, which actually the issue of controversy in Brunei is a very common. I think every country face this problem. So the factors, I think the main reason why we have this problem is because of the multiple factors such as the lack of the documentation, evidence or reference, also because of the different ideologies or different perspectives which affect the way of our history, even in written or in some cases statement got lost in translation or missing context, or different understanding of this is because of the different social culture or political system that's mix our what we call it judgment in consistency with the information and documenting history. For Brunei Darussalam, I think the issue of the controversy such in just now mentioned in Philippines about the Marcos and about the Sukarno, but in Brunei, I think same period like during the Marcos or during the Sukarno is about the rebellion 1962. This also related to the what you call it confrontation, Malaysian Indonesian confrontation, even related to the Philippines, which our PRB have been there for nearly a month, I think. So this issue is very controversial in Brunei. So other issues such as not only on the 1960s what we call history, but also during the time of the British came to Brunei, issue of the let's for example the Limbang problem, Limbang rebellion in the 19th century, or about the one of the now still become the problem. I mean, become the issue is the reason why that, for example, Brunei not joined Malaysia in 1963-65. I think this is also many factors, many what you call it, many idea because of different what you call it, maybe different reference or different document they have on the issue. So this is simply due to the multiple sources, I think the same event, but coming from the different perspective. Those may be present different context. So in Brunei, when we independent in 1984, the Brunei History Center was established in 1982 to address this problem. So the pusat sejarah of the Brunei Center is responsible to make a research, then study and document, or even to collect all the material about Brunei, not only within the country, but even to US, to Spain, and also to UK, in order to publish the book which will show, I mean, we will write based on the Brunei perspective or Brunei values, in order everyone will accept it in Brunei. So in education in Brunei, as I mentioned just now, I think Dr. Handi discussed with Nariza how we managed to tackle this controversy. One of the ways is to publish the Brunei history, to have it in an education institution. This is a cooperation not only among the historian, but also the best thing is with the Brunei History Center. So who have the authority, to authority which right or which is wrong about the issue of Brunei. I think this is the Brunei experience in order to what you call to make the issue of Brunei is right, to show to the world that this is our country, this is our culture, is accepted based on our values. So I think one of the other institution is Brunei History Center. Support the Brunei History Center is where I am a president now, Brunei Institution, which we came together, make a research, and also not only make a research, also written a book and everything. So that's all. I think my simple response to the discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haji Muhammad Hadi bin Haji Muhammad Melayong, for valuable information regarding the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, Bruneian perspective and experience. I think let's identify the controversial event in Philippines. There's the martial law. In Indonesia, there's the GTTS 1965, or what is September 30 movement 1965. In Brunei also there's the PRB revolution, Partai Rakyat Brunei, Brunei People Party revolution in 1962.
Yeah.
And I think in Malaysia also there's related to the GTTS, related also maybe with the what is confrontation between Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines, what we call as the maybe tragedy of May 13, 1969. Let's we see about that. Okay. And the next representative panelist is from Malaysia. I would like to invite Dr. Mosli Tarsat to give a brief sharing and comparing about the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, Malaysian perspective and experience. But unfortunately, Dr. Mosli Tarsat cannot joining us because there's the what is his mother-in-law accident in the Tawau in Sabah. But Dr. Mosli Tarsat sent us his opinion in the text. So I would like to share with all participants about his text just a moment. Related to the tragedy of May 1965 as one of the controversial issues in contemporary Malaysian history. Okay, I would like to read about Dr. Mosli Tarsat text or opinion. Thank you, Mr. Andi Swirta, as moderator. I respect the speaker and all the discussion members in this webinar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good night, everyone. The title, Managing Controversial Issues in Contemporary History, the Philippine Perspective and Experience, presented by Dr. Nicoli, is very interesting topic to discuss in the context of contemporary history in Southeast Asia. I will share an issue of controversy in history of Malaysia, namely the tragedy of 13 May 1969. Or also known as the tragedy of the 13 May riot. Research on 13 May 1969 has been done by scholars from various aspects, especially in relation to the factors and effect of his tragedy on the nation and country. Within this very limited time, I will only go through an overview of this tragedy in history of Malaysia. In my opinion, this clash of racial conflict is not a sudden occurrence, but the tone of racism have existed since the colonial era. The tragedy of 13 May 1969 was rooted in racism and disaffection of the Malay and non-Malay on issues on political, ideological, racial, and cultural pattern, as well as different way of thinking among the Malay and non-Malay communities. Every aspect involving in the issue of Malay privilege, non-Malay rights, language, religion, education, and employment became an issue that was often touched on in election campaign from 1959 to the 1969 election. Due to that, on 13 May 1969, racial conflict between the Malays and non-Malay erupted until there was attack, killings, destruction of property taking place. As a result, official figure record 199 dead, 439 injured, 39 missing, 9,143 detained, and 211 vehicles destroyed. This situation is very worrying to the neighboring countries of Malaysia as well as Britain as the colonizer who gave independence to Malaysia. To resolve this issue, the government at the time had declared a state of emergency. Parliament suspended, established the National Movement Council or MAGRAN, Majelis Gerakan Negara or Gerakan Nasional, introduced the national pillars, established the National Unity Department, the New Economic Policy or DEB, Dasar Ekonomi Baru, the National Education Policy, and so on and so forth. Therefore, in my opinion, this tragedy is very important not only to face the issues of racism in the future, but also to give awareness of the importance of racial unity in maintaining the harmony of a country. The tragedy of May 13 proves that the formation of Malaysia as one world country has been greatly achieved in 1963, but the formation of the Malaysian as nation as one race has not yet been achieved. I think it is the opinion of Dr. Mosley Tarsat related to the May 13 tragedy in contemporary Malaysian history. I think it is similar with the G30S 1965, Prof. Nana, in Indonesia, because
yes.
based on the tragedy of May 1969, the Tunku Abdul Rahman Putra as the first prime minister in Malaysia also should be stepped down. President Sukarno also similar, should be stepped down. And in the Philippines also similar. President Macapagal should be replaced by the Ferdinand E. Marcos,
Yes.
who issued about the martial law.
Yes, in 1972 he issued martial law.
Okay. Okay, that's the what is opinion from Dr. Mosley Tarsat. From Dr. Mosley Tarsat is senior lecturer at the history program, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, UMS, Malaysia University of Sabah in Kota Kinabalu, Malaysia. I think it is what is neighboring cities with the Philippines. He is expert in history of maritime in Malaysia and also, of course, expert in modern Malaysian history, including the controversial event in contemporary Malaysian history. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have been sharing and caring in academic matters, particularly in talking about the managing controversial issues in contemporary history, the perspective and experience from the Philippines, Indonesia, Brunei Darussalam, and Malaysia. I will not make the fixed conclusion due to each speaker is very clear in sharing and carrying the information or topic related to the managing controversial issues in contemporary history for each country. Before this event ending, I would like to give opportunity to the audience. Maybe any comment related to our topic today. Please, the representative from female audience or one person, or male audience also one person. The brief comment in 5 minutes, maybe. I would like to give opportunity to Miss from Brunei Darussalam.
Okay.
Ms. Donaliza Abdullah Puasa, please introduce yourself and then please give the brief comment.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for the very useful information and insight to how controversial issues being treated in countries. And for Brunei, Dr. Hadi has been sharing with you some of the components of it in our historical, delivery and in Brunei. But I'm commenting this on different perspective, but basically from aspect of school teaching history education in Brunei. Well, history, as I suppose, I don't know in other countries, but history in Brunei is a subject which is not actually winning a popularity among students here. People shy for a bit. The place in the upper secondary level is like an option subject, so students opted for it, and they don't opt for it. So it's not actually, we don't have many students doing the subject at that particular level. So our fight is not just merely trying to manage controversial issues in history in our classroom, but we also our fight is trying to place history in the school curriculum as preferred subject. And we were doing this with teachers as well. We were fighting constant battle in trying to attract students to do it. Now, of course, there was, as presented by Pak Nana tadi kan, that we should focus on in school subject, we should focus on how do we teach them, what to teach them, and how do we teach them. And what do we want history education for? What is history education for in the country? We want them to know the past. We want them to nurture them to become patriotic citizens. We want to develop useful citizens who knows their history, they know their past, and establish their identity, right? And of course, the way subject is being taught, the way the narrative is being put in history textbook. They all facts, figures, and based on facts, based on the, what's been written in history as accepted history, written by a local historian, and also with input from various writing of history from overseas. And now, of course, we don't want our students to become living encyclopedia of what happened in the past. We don't want them to become person who knows what happened in the past and then be able to narrate and be able to dispense them in the exam, okay? And also, we do not want them to train our student at high school level to use history discourse to encourage them to become, something else, right? So what do we want in the end? What would you want out of our history student? And what do you want out of our history education in the country? So, as you said, our history is not perfect. Like many other countries, history of other countries, we have victories that we are proud of. We have failures that we not too proud of, but ashamed of, and want to hide it in our writings. And that has major implication. And Nicholas has expounded on this very well just now, as far as Philippine controversial history is. And these are painful. These are the things that we, that we want to now put across to student. How do you put across this happy stories, painful stories, how to manage them, how to get them to become able to discern what's right, what's wrong. And we all have perception that students are not capable of judging what's right and wrong. They have not developed such critical thinking yet to know whether that piece of history is something they want to learn from, or whether this piece of history is something to be proud of. And how do we turn it into something which they can be, in the end, nationalistic and not become to extremists, to exclude others which not belong to the history of the nation, So there is this controversy, this dynamic that people who wants to present their own political history ahead of them, so that they become more prominent members of countries nationally, so this brings us to the point of how do we teach, how do you want to teach it? How do we manage these issues in history? You want to teach the student, when teachers stand in the classroom, delivering this curriculum to students, and how do you want these teachers to bring it? Do you train them to become very subjective? Do you want to train? Do you want them to stand there to deliver without bringing in a preconceived notion of what the history is, or their own personal judgment about what things happened in the past, how it happened in the past? These are also important to ensure that students are being delivered the right kind of tone, the right kind of message, the right kind of. This is hard to manage. So we're not talking just about managing these issues in history, but also managing how the curriculum is being delivered in the classroom. So that requires a lot of training. It brings me back to Dr. Nekale's, I'm sure you, Nekale.
Yes, Nikale, thank you.
Yes, training of teachers and integrating them and evaluating teachers from time to time to make sure that they are delivering the message right, they're delivering the national curriculum right to the student. Now, what is right is, again, is another issues that we need to grapple with, the other mitigating factors as far as history is concerned in school is that, the amount of time devoted to teaching of it, how much time is being devoted to history in the school curriculum. And then the other danger is that the teaching and learning of history is being integrated into the other subjects. So we have element of social history, social studies, that reduces the amount of time that we devote to now delivering this important aspect of student learning, and also being history now being subsumed. We are now in danger of devaluating history. I think if you look into the history where history has developed now. And the history students are moving to the preferred subject which has implication on what they're going to do in the future, which career wise, which brings in more money, which bring in more career. Very very few of them would want to stick to the subject history per se. So how do we manage this? We are in danger of now history is becoming a dinosaur in the areas of the subject. We have now technologies, ICT, Internet of Things being more popular, and all this. How do we prevent the decaying of this subject in school curriculum? Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Donaliza Abdullah Puasa comes from Ministry of Education of Brunei.
I used to be Ministry of Education. I was a teacher of history. I was a school inspector of history, and also curriculum developers.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this topic is very interesting to discuss and to share with what is with us. And before ending this agenda, I would like to give the opportunity, maybe in 1 minute or 2 minutes, for each speaker to maybe make the closing statement or main recommendation, what your your recommendation, your suggestion related to the managing controversial issues. Maybe from Dr. Nicole, the closing statement or a recommendation related to our topic this evening, please.
Thank you, Pa Andy, and thank you to all who have shared their thoughts and insights in our discussion for this evening. Truly, this is a very interesting topic, and we should be propagating a lot of discussions on difficult and controversial histories. And for my last statement, to conclude this discussion is, first things first, to manage controversial and difficult histories, we should place history at the pedestal in every academic or in any social life of every person. Not only because the study of history will make us um, a person in our nation, but of course history helps us to manage our future decisions. You know how what happened in the past was already in the past, and that knowledge of the past will bring us to a better future, to a better decision making of the future. I am coming from this experience that our nation have experienced a dictator, and right now I don't think we have learned from our own past to elect not a son of another dictator. So with that, I think it's very important for us to see history in the context that it is very important for future decision making. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nicole. Prof. Nana, maybe any recommendation or closing statement, not only controversial issues as the source of the critical in pedagogic or creative pedagogic, but also maybe another recommendation, please.
Thank you very much, Pak Andi. As a lecturer at the Department of History, I'm lucky actually because I teach history as a controversial subject. I think controversial issue cannot be avoided. This is opportunity for us to present controversial issue in history to our students to make them to develop critical thinking. I think by making connection between one event to another event, from one country to another country, we can make some comparison in history, because the event of history is not a single event. I think it's also is influenced by another event from the past or from different area. I think this is very good if our history teacher can manage the controversial issue in the classroom to develop our student to share, to think critically, and probably to think creatively for their life. Thank you very much, Fandi.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Noah Supriyatna. Dr. Hadi, any recommendation, any closing statement, please? Still unmute, Doctor. Unmute, okay.
No comment. Just I think for me in Brunei, our young generation mostly our generation are not really interested, to the study of the history subject, because they have our problem. They consider that history is not important in terms of getting a job, maybe, or they not, no future for them. I think that's why that's the reason some only a small number of our young generation take this subject seriously. So I think already mentioned by my colleagues just now about our problem in Brunei about this teaching subject in school. So that's only my comment. Thank you, Dr. Mahandi.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hadi. Well, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I think we have discussed very interesting about our topic, and maybe it is become our agenda in the future, how we make the collaborate research related to our history in what is educational institution, maybe concerning about the controversial issues in Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, and Philippines. I think this is the Professor Dr. Nana Supratna ideas about let's be what is joint research or collaboration research related to our history for education. I think it is very critical and very interesting for the future agenda, the next agenda. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think our time is enough, and let's ending our virtual meeting this evening by reciting together Hamdalah, Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thanks God, and hopefully God bless us. We will meet again, inshallah, with different and interesting topic in the next agenda. Best regard and warmest regard from Bandung. Thank you. Terima kasih. Maraming salamat po. Arigato gozaimasu. Hatur nuhun in Sundanese language. We will meet again in the future, in the next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you and good evening to everyone. Magandang gabi sa lahat. Maraming salamat po.
Selamat po.
Selamat po.
Good evening.
What is you welcome in Tagalog language, Dr. Nicole? You welcome.
Mabuhay.
Mabuhay?
Mabuhay.
I see, mabuhay is you welcome. Okay.
You're welcome. Walang anuman.
Walang anuman.
Yeah,
walang anuman. Walang anuman. Okay, you welcome.
Yeah,
Walang
anuman.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nicole. My best regard to your colleagues in PNU, to Dr. Abulencia, to
Okay.
Dr. Jose, forgot, my colleagues in Faculty of Social Behavior.
Yeah, behavioral and social
Oh
science.
yeah, there's many my colleagues in PNU. To Dr. Hadi, to Madam Donalisa, thank you for attending and also contributing the
Thank you.
idea.
Thank you, Tunande. Meet you next time.
Thank you, Pa Andy, Dr.
Okay.
Hadi, Professor
Okay.
Nana, and Ma'am Donaliza. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Good
much all.
evening.
Thank you. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay,
Waalaikumsalam.
okay, we can leave from this Zoom meeting. Thank you.